Hi students, we will continue with magnetism and matter chapter. MCQs we have to do today, and one question was pending from numerical exercise, and also one topic is there for entrance only, and that topic is called apparent dip. Okay, so let us discuss that topic first. So there is a topic called apparent dip, important for both NEET and JEE. Okay, apparent dip. So apparent means virtual, right? Now why it is called apparent dip? For that, let us try to revise. Yesterday we learned about dip, which is also called inclination. So imagine this is your magnetic meridian. This is your magnetic meridian. Okay, so if this is the place where you live, then if you continue this side, this is your magnetic north. So this plane contains the given place and the magnetic axis. So that the vertical plane containing the given place and magnetic axis, or you can say magnetic north. This plane is what is called magnetic meridian. Magnetic meridian. Now Earth's magnetic field lies in this meridian, remember. Okay, so let us say this is your Earth's magnetic field. Then the angle made by the Earth's magnetic field with the horizontal. This is your horizontal, right? So that angle is called angle of dip or inclination. And this is what we call the true dip. This is what is called the true dip. Now, how can I measure this experimentally? Can I use compass? No, because compass will move horizontally like this. Compass is free to move horizontally. The needle in the compass is free to move horizontally, right? Not vertically. So what we need is we need an instrument in which there is a magnetic compass which can move vertically, which can rotate vertically. And such a instrument is called deep circle. What circle? Deep circle. So when I was in BSc, okay, Bachelor's of Science, that time we have done experiments based on this deep circle. So there will be a circular uh, casing, and there will be a needle. Okay, this is your magnetic needle. Okay, this is basically a magnet. Let me put arrow only one side. So let's say this is the north and this is the south, and there will be this horizontal and vertical line, and some angles will be marked. Okay, 0 degree, 90 degree, like that. 0 degree, 90 degree, 180, 360, like that. Okay, so now what you have to do is this deep circle. Let me write the name, deep circle. Please Google and try to see how deep circle looks like. Okay, it will be a circular arrangement like this only. Then there will be some base where you will keep the circle. So this deep circle you have to keep it in the magnetic meridian. So this deep circle you have to keep in the magnetic meridian. Okay, so imagine this is the deep circle. Now I am keeping it in the magnetic meridian. Now in the magnetic meridian, our Earth's magnetic field will be there, and this needle is free to rotate vertically. Okay, so this needle is free to rotate vertically. Rotate vertically. Now you know that a magnet, when it is free, it will always align itself along magnetic field. So since the magnetic field is in this direction, in that given place, so the needle will align itself in the direction of the magnetic field. So if the magnetic field is this way, the needle will align this way. Okay, and from there you can measure what is the angle of dip. Directly you can measure. So this is how deep circles can be used to find the angle of dip. Understood or not? So you need a instrument in which the needle is free to rotate vertically, not horizontally. Okay. Now you can always ask, what if I keep the deep circle not in the magnetic meridian? This is magnetic meridian. Magnetic meridian, right? So if you want to measure the true dip, true angle of dip, this plane should be your magnetic meridian. And how to find magnetic meridian? Simple. Just put a magnet horizontally, see wherever it aligns, that will be your magnetic meridian. So keep the deep circle in that plane. Okay, keep the deep circle in that plane, and whatever is the angle measured here, whatever angle the needle will make with the horizontal, that will give you true angle of dip. But suppose somebody says, no sir, I will not keep the deep circle here, I will keep it at some angle like this, like this. Maybe I will keep the deep circle here, and from here to here, let's say I have rotated by theta angle or phi angle, then the needle will align somewhere. The needle will be somewhere, no? So the angle made by the needle with the horizontal, that angle is what we call apparent dip. Meaning, apparent dip is nothing but angle made by magnetic field with horizontal only. But when the plane is not magnetic meridian, but some other meridian. So let us try to derive one formula for apparent dip in terms of true dip. Okay. So I hope you got the concept. Now let us see why apparent dip is not same as true dip. So look carefully. Okay, for understanding this, you have to observe very carefully. So imagine this is your magnetic meridian. Magnetic meridian, right? Earth's magnetic field will be in this plane. This is your Earth's magnetic field, total. This is your true angle of dip, right? It will have two components, vertical component dV I write, horizontal component BH. Yes or no? Then we know tan of angle of dip, true angle of dip will be this opposite side by adjacent side. Opposite side is vertical component, adjacent side is horizontal component. Simple. Okay. Now suppose I want to ask what will be the, where will be the resultant magnetic field if I ask not in this magnetic meridian but some other meridian. Meaning, forget about this line now. Okay. So let me, what I will do, I will rotate this plane horizontally like this by some angle theta. Okay, are you understanding? Horizontally I have to do. Okay, so this is your magnetic meridian, but instead of keeping the deep circle here, you are keeping it here. Okay, at some angle with the magnetic meridian. Understood or not? So theta is basically angle, or let me call it phi. I don't want you to confuse it with declination. So let me call it phi. What is phi? The angle. This is the plane where we keep the deep circle, which is the instrument to measure angle of dip. So I keep the circle which has the magnetic needle which I told, not in this plane but in this plane. Now see what will happen. Vertical component will be this only, no doubt. Vertical component will be this only, but horizontal component is here. But I want horizontal component in this. So what I have to do? Component of this. So component of this magnetic field in this direction will be how much? BH cos phi. Yes or no? If you have a vector A and you want to know component of this vector in this direction, which is A cos theta. So BV, vertical component will be here only, but the horizontal component itself will have, this BH will not be acting here. Component of BH will be acting here. How much component? BH cos phi. Okay, I hope all of you understood. Now you can see this is in this plane. This is the vertical component and this is the horizontal component in this plane. So resultant will be somewhere here. Resultant magnetic field in this plane will be somewhere here. Okay, let me write B dash. So B dash is the resultant magnetic field in some other plane which is not matching with the magnetic meridian. Understood or not? So now students, if you check this angle, that will not be your true dip. This is what we call apparent dip. So let me write here, this is what we call apparent dip. Apparent angle of dip, or simply apparent dip. How to measure this? Simple. Tan of apparent dip will be what? Opposite is same only, BB only. But adjacent in this plane is no longer BH, remember. It is BH cos phi. BH cos phi. Correct now? So now you can see your tan of apparent dip is equals to, what is BV by BH? This is your tan of true dip. Tan of true dip. This is your true angle of dip, which is measured when you keep the dip circle in this magnetic meridian. But if you keep the circle in this meridian, which is not magnetic meridian, understood or not, then the needle will align in this direction, and the angle measured will not be same as the true angle of dip, which I have shown diagram in the previous point, right, when I was discussing it. So it will be, this is your tan of true dip, and this cos phi is there, cos phi. So this is the formula to remember to find tan of apparent dip. Once you know tan of apparent dip, you can calculate the apparent dip also, isn't it? So what is phi? How I should remember phi? Phi is basically the angle between the plane of dip circle, which is used to measure the angle, the angle of dip. So what is phi? This angle, this phi. Okay, so it is like this angle which I have told you in class also. So this angle, okay, this angle. So this is, if I say this is magnetic meridian, then you should keep the circle here. But if you try to keep the circle here in this plane, which is deflected by angle phi, this is angle phi, this one, then your apparent dip will be different. And what is phi? Angle between the plane of dip circle here and what? Magnetic meridian. Okay, magnetic meridian. Magnetic meridian. Okay, students, so please try to remember this formula. By the way, if this plane is your geographic meridian, matlab if you go this way and you find geographic north, then this angle will be your what? The first angle, declination. Understood or not? Because declination was what? Angle between magnetic meridian and geographic meridian. So if you keep the plane of the dip circle in the geographic meridian, then this will be declination. Otherwise, you can keep the circle anywhere you want, your wish. If this is magnetic meridian, you can keep it this way also. This way, if you keep, it will be 90 degree. 90 degree, right? Phi will be 90. Check what will happen. Cos phi 90 degree. If this phi is 90 degree, then cos 90 degree is how much? 0. So something divided by 0 will be infinity. So if this is infinity, this will be 90 degree. Understood or not? So if phi is 90 degree, matlab you keep the dip circle here. This is your magnetic meridian. You are keeping the dip circle here. Then your phi will be 90 degree. If this is 90 degree, cos 90 is 0. So tan of apparent dip will be something divided by 0 will be infinity, and therefore apparent dip will be 90. Understood? So the needle will be in this direction. Okay? Sorry, the needle will be in this direction, because dip matlab angle between the magnetic field and the horizon. So the needle will stay vertical. Understood or not? Okay, keep this in your mind. Okay, students? Fine. So this formula you try to remember. Let us solve question number 3 of numerical exercise. Question number 3 of numerical exercise. Okay. Which numerical exercise it was? Question numerical exercise 5.1, question number 3. Simple question it is. At a certain location, question number 3, at a certain location in Africa, a compass points 12 degree west of geographic north. So let us say this is your geographic north, geographic south, this is geographic east, this is your geographic west. Usually we don't write geographic, but here it is important to distinguish because we have magnetic north also, right? So a compass points 12 degree west of north. So west of north means this side. Okay, so your compass is pointing this way. So this is your compass. So your magnet is in this direction. That means if you go this way, this will be your magnetic north. Yes or no? That will be your magnetic north, and this plane will be your magnetic meridian. This plane will be your geographic meridian. So whatever angle they have given is actually what angle? This is your declination. This is your declination. Directly they have not told declination like that. Okay. The north tip of the magnetic needle of a deep circle. I told you about deep circle. Placed in the plane of the magnetic meridian. So the deep circle is kept where they told in magnetic meridian. In that case, whatever is the angle between the needle and the horizontal, that will be your true dip. So the north tip of the magnetic needle of a deep circle placed in the plane of magnetic meridian. Okay, so the deep circle is placed in the plane of magnetic meridian. Magnetic meridian. In that case, your phi, that the phi which I wrote in the previous formula is 0, right? Because phi was the angle between the deep circle and the magnetic meridian. So that time the angle is 60 degree below the horizontal. So if this is your deep circle, then this north tip is pointing 60 degree. Okay, below the horizontal. What is this? This is your angle of dip. So declination we have found. Declination is 12 degree. Inclination, which is nothing but angle of dip, is 60 degree. Right? Directly they have not told both of them. They did not use this word or this word or this word. They have given you some sentences, and after reading that we have come to know that the first one is declination and the second one is angle of dip. Now they are saying the horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field, horizontal component means BH, is equal to 0.16 Gauss. Now I know Tesla is the SI unit, but Gauss is also used sometimes. 1 Gauss is 10 power minus 4 Tesla. So Gauss is a smaller unit of magnetic field. Specify the direction and magnitude of Earth's magnetic field. Direction, so these two will give. Direction will be given by these two angles. Magnitude of magnetic field we want. Total magnetic field. So we have been given horizontal component. We already know how the horizontal component is related to the total magnetic field. So it is cos of delta, right? Please check this formula. We have done already. So total magnetic field will be horizontal component divided by cos of angle of dip. Horizontal component is 0.16. Delta is the angle of dip. This was delta. This we wrote as theta if you remember. So this is 60 degree. So cos of 60 degree. Cos of 60 degree is half. 2 will go up. So 2 6 are 12. 2 1 carry. 2 1s are 2. So 0.22 Gauss. Right? Let's multiply 16 with 2. So 2 6 are 12, 2 1s are 2, sorry, 32 Gauss, 0.32 Gauss. 0.32 Gauss. So this is the Earth's magnetic field, magnitude, and these two will give you direction. Understood or not? Okay. Fine? Okay. So basically, how will you state the answer? The answer will be Earth's magnetic field is 0.32 Gauss. Right? That is the magnitude. Direction is where? How will you say direction? 60° below the horizontal. Now if you say only 60° below the horizontal, this is horizontal. If you say 60° below the horizontal, it is not clear because this is also 60, this will be also 60. If I rotate this like this, all will be 60. So 60° below the horizontal and 12° west of north. 12° west of north. Okay. Let us see some other exercises now. This is done. Home exercise, please give a try. 5 questions I have given. Exam corner. Okay, what happens if a bar magnet is cut into 2 pieces transverse to its length and along its length? Transverse to its length means perpendicular to its length. So for that, first question, this is under exam corner. Exam corner. Okay, so if you take a bar magnet, north south. Now magnetic moment of a bar magnet, if it is current loop, we write current into area. For bar magnet, we write similar to the way we wrote electric dipole moment, q into distance between them. Remember, right? Q into distance between the two charges. One was plus q, other one is minus q. So here we will write qm into 2l, or we can just write l. But remember, L should be taken as this distance. Now, Qm is what I call magnetic charge, but then in books they call it pole strength. Pole strength. So the formula for electric dipole moment, if you remember, it was Q into L. I know we used to write L as 2A also, right? But you can write it as L also. Just remember, L is the distance between the poles. Let me assume the poles are at the ends, so that this length is same as distance between the poles. Now, if you cut transverse means perpendicularly if you cut, then what you will get is a shorter magnet. This is north, this is south. So let me take this one. So if you take this part here, first part here, then this will be north now and this will be south, right? Already we have discussed in theory class. Now you can see the pole strength will be same because the end is still the same. So pole strength will be same, this will be same, but length has become half. So if this is Qm, this is minus Qm, this will be also Qm, pole strength will be same, but distance has become half. So what will be the magnetic moment of this one? M dash, let me write. Qm into L by 2. That means it will become M by 2. Compare with this. This is nothing but magnetic moment before, right? Before cutting. So by cutting the magnet in a transverse way, what has happened? Magnetic moment has become halved. That you can mention. Magnetic moment of the magnet is halved. Okay. Now suppose the second part is you are cutting it into 2 pieces, not transverse, not perpendicularly, but parallel to the length. So in the second part, they are cutting the magnet this way. So this is your initial bar magnet. Pole strength, I am writing Qm minus Qm. Don't think these are charges. These are called pole strength. I call it magnetic charge. And this distance is L. So this time what is the magnetic moment? Qm into L. Right? Now if you cut it parallel to its length into 2 equal halves. This way if you cut. Then this piece, let me call it 1. Now you can see the length is same, but now the end has reduced by half. So the pole strength which depends on the size of this end, so that will become also half. So pole strength will become half. Sorry. So what will be the new magnetic moment? Pole strength has become half. Length is still same only. So even now the magnetic moment becomes half. So in both cases the magnetic moment becomes half. What if I ask you like this? I give you a bar magnet, then I cut this way, then I cut this way. So first I cut this way, then I cut this way. Then this piece which I have, if I ask what will be the magnetic moment, what will be the answer? If the total magnetic moment is m, this will be m by 4. You can check why it is m by 4. Obviously, right? This also became half. This also became half. So it will become 1/4. Let's see the next question. Question number 2. A magnetized needle in a uniform magnetic field. A magnetized needle means magnet only because it has been magnetized. A magnetized needle in a uniform magnetic field experiences a torque but no net force. Why it doesn't experience net force? Provided they should tell uniform magnetic field. They have not used the word uniform magnetic field. They should have used. Okay. If it is not uniform, then it will experience force also. So question number 2, let me discuss. Let me read once more. A magnetized needle in a, oh, they have told uniform magnetic field. So if you have a uniform magnetic field, okay, uniform, and you take a magnetized needle. Magnetized needle matlab magnet only. So one end is north, one end is south. So if you compare this with electric dipole, then you can say this end will feel force this side, this end will feel force this side. Since the magnetic field is uniform, these forces will be equal and opposite. In vector form, if I write equal and opposite, so net force will be 0. Already we have learned that current loop, which is also a magnetic dipole, in uniform magnetic field experiences 0 force, if you remember. Of course, it will experience torque. So force is 0, but torque is non-zero because it will rotate. Right? Okay. Now what they are asking, an iron nail is right now not magnetized. So near a bar magnet, however, experiences a force in addition to torque. In addition to torque, it experiences a force. So why is it like that? So basically what happens is, if you have a bar magnet, okay, so bar magnet, and you keep a iron nail, let's say iron nail. Now first thing you have to understand, this magnet will magnetize this. So once it is magnetized, let us see how. If this north is this side, magnetic field will be this way. Right, so all the dipoles will turn that way. North will turn that side. So this will become north, this will become south. Yes or no? So now north and south are closer, so this will be attracted. Yes or no? It will be attracted. Now if you keep this way, it will be only attracted. But suppose I keep it this way. Suppose I keep it this way. Okay, then one end will be south, one end will be north. It will be attracted this way, so it will rotate. So this needle now will be, this needle will rotate, and if it is kept this way, and since the magnetic field of bar magnet, please understand, is not a uniform magnetic field. It is not a uniform magnetic field. So this dipole, this is like a dipole now. Once it is kept near a magnet, it will get magnetized. Right or not, students? Once it gets magnetized, it itself will behave like a magnet. Now that magnet or that dipole is kept in what kind of magnetic field? Check here. Non-uniform magnetic field. Non-uniform. So since it is non-uniform magnetic field, it will experience force also. So besides experiencing force, it will also experience torque. Besides experiencing torque, I should say, it will also experience force. So keep that in your mind. Right? That's why they told here bar magnet, whereas here they told uniform magnetic field. I will share the answer in the Google Classroom, written answer, that you can check. But I hope the explanation was clear. So once the needle is magnetized, okay, it will behave like a magnet. If the dipoles turn that side will act like north, this side will act like south. Okay, question number 3 you see. Must every magnetic configuration have a north pole and a south pole? So should every magnetic configuration, matlab whatever we know that currents produce magnetic field. So should every current distribution behave like a, should have a north pole and a south pole, they are asking. And the answer is no actually. So answer for that is no. For example, if you have a straight infinite wire, right, this produces magnetic field or not? We know it produces magnetic field like this, right? We have already studied. Formula also we have derived at distance r. What was the formula? Mu naught I by 2 pi r. But there is no concept for this wire. There is no concept of north pole and south pole. To behave like a north pole or a south pole, you need to have a current loop. And another example where even if current loop is there, it does not have a north pole or a south pole. Example is, you take this toroid. So for a toroid, if you remember, we have discussed already, the total magnetic moment is zero. The total magnetic moment, because if current is flowing this way, so this part will have this side, this part will have this side, this part will have this side. So like that, if you keep doing, different parts will, for example, as I make this toroid, one part current will flow this way, and as I come like this, see my hand very carefully, okay, here like this, then like this, then like this, then here is like this, see, like this, okay, from this side if I see it is like this, no, so here it will be like this, like this it will be. Understanding or not? So if it is going this way, this way, this way, this way, here it will be like this. So this current will produce magnetic moment this way, but this current will produce magnetic moment this way. So like that, one turn will cancel the magnetic moment of another turn. So total magnetic moment of this toroid will be zero. Let me write toroid, no, that is better. Will be zero. So since magnetic moment is zero, there is no this kind of configurations will not have north pole or south pole. Okay. Question number 4, you see. Many of the diagrams given in the figure show magnetic field lines, thick lines in the figure. Wrongly, they are saying, wrongly. Point out what is wrong with them. What is wrong with them? Also, we have to say some of them may describe electrostatic field lines correctly. Point out which ones are those. So they have shown some lines and we have to find whether those lines are magnetic field lines or not, or can they be electric field lines or not. When I say electric field lines, I have to talk about electrostatic field lines. Electrostatic field lines matlab field lines produced by charges, static charges, right? Okay. So one by one we will see the diagram. Again, all these questions are more important for your entrance exams. So the first diagram, if you look, it looks something like this. Right? So it looks like this. Okay, so can this be magnetic field? No. So it cannot be magnetic field. So it is not magnetic field lines. So it is not magnetic field lines. This cannot be magnetic field lines because magnetic field lines always forms what I told, closed loops. So this is not closed loop in any way. And if your magnetic field lines are like this, it means there is a north pole sitting here. But we all know isolated north pole or isolated south pole cannot exist. So please remember, this cannot be magnetic field lines. Okay, not magnetic field lines. Can it be electric field lines? Yes. Okay, it can be electric field lines. Let me write properly. No, it cannot be. It cannot be. It cannot be magnetic field lines. But it can be electric field lines. So first diagram cannot be magnetic field lines. Second diagram, they have shown like this. Like this. Okay. So since it is crossing, you know that it cannot be electric field lines also, and it cannot be magnetic field lines also. because field lines cannot intersect. Reason already we have discussed many times. I will not talk. Okay. Let us see the third configuration. In the third configuration, you will see lines which are like this. Like this. Right? You will see something like the magnetic field. Oh, sorry. Some lines they have shown. So can these be magnetic field lines? Yes, it can be. Straight wire produces this kind of magnetic fields. We know already, right? Or if you have toroid like this, toroid. If you have solenoid like this, I hope you remember magnetic field lines was like this. But that is again assumption, because every solenoid will be finite. Infinite solenoid will exist only in theory. So every solenoid will be finite. So the lines will go like this ultimately. Understood or not? Okay. Because magnetic field lines has to be closed loops. But this is closed loop. So it can be magnetic field lines. Can it be electrostatic field lines? Let me write here E means electrostatic. No, because electric field lines are always open. So electrostatic field lines are never closed. So this can be magnetic field lines. See, it can be magnetic field lines, but it cannot be electric field lines. Now let us see which one. D. In D, they have shown magnetic field lines like this. And the blue color basically represents the wire where current is flowing. So basically this is the solenoid. Now you may think, sir, it is okay. We have already assumed. But students, they have not mentioned anywhere that the solenoid is infinite in length. So we cannot assume that. So this kind of perfect straight lines, it is not possible. At least they should have done something like this, like this. This one should have gone straight. Like this, if they had done, then yes, it could be magnetic field lines. But it is so perfect. It is straight up to here, straight up to here, straight up to here, straight up to here. So it is too straight for it to be a magnetic field lines. Okay, so it cannot be magnetic field lines. So D is, it cannot be, for this is answer for D. Okay, it cannot be magnetic field lines. Can it be electric field lines? Well, it is again, if it is a capacitor, then you know in capacitor electric field is uniform. But again, for finite capacitor, electric field lines may be like this in the middle, but outside it will be like this. If you remember, this is called fringing, or this is called fringing of electric field lines. So again, nothing has been mentioned whether if there is a plate, is it infinite or not. They have nothing mentioned, so it cannot be electric field lines also. It's too perfect. Okay. Then if you look at E, the diagram looks something like this. So let me not draw the diagram. If you just observe the diagram, you will see here it is closed. So that is okay. It is closed. Here also it is closed. And here it is going like this. So you can see they have not drawn this perfectly straight, all these lines, meaning all these lines have tendency to curve and come like this. So this will come like this will go like this. What about this one? What about the straight one? You may think, sir, this is not allowed. Please understand, this will go to infinity and then minus infinity like this. Okay, so this is also closed. It's like tan theta graph. Tan theta graph, if you see, it goes to plus infinity when theta is 90 degree. Then it starts from again minus infinity. So plus infinity and minus infinity you can imagine at the same place. Understood or not? Something divided by infinity is 0. Something divided by minus infinity is also 0. So this straight line also you can consider as going to plus infinity, then coming to minus infinity like this. Okay. And these ones are getting closed, you can see. So since it is shown as curved, it is very much clear that in the diagram they are trying to show that these are closed loops. So yes, it can be magnetic field lines, but it cannot be electric field lines, because electrostatic field lines are not closed loops. Let us now see the last one. The last one looks something like this. Okay, let me explain these two questions together. What about these two? Now, if you look at this one, it starts like this, and since it is showing curved, probably it will go like this and come here. But here you can see the arrow is down. Whereas for magnetic field lines, it has to be closed loop. So since it is not a closed loop, because lines are going like this, and then here it is not continuing, it is coming like this. So it cannot be magnetic field lines. It cannot be magnetic field lines because it is not closed. Since it is not closed loops. Can it be electric field lines? Let us see if this is positively charged and negatively charged. Yes, right? From positive charge it starts, negative charge it ends. So it can be electric field lines. The last one is shown here, North Pole and South Pole. So this is here we have to only talk about magnetic field. And this basically is, can you guess what kind of magnet is this? This is like your horseshoe magnet, okay? Almost. Usually a horseshoe magnet will look like this. So now, if you look at these lines which they have shown, yes, magnetic field lines, yes, they go from north to south like this, they go inside. It is closed only like this. However, it is too straight. It is too straight, okay? So that's much straight it cannot be. It has to be a little bit like this, okay? So since it is too straight, it cannot be again magnetic field lines. So it cannot be magnetic field lines. Cannot be magnetic field lines. Okay, it is too perfectly shown as straight lines. So fine students, I hope all these questions you have understood. Now let us do some questions from the entrance corner. Entrance corner 5.1. Entrance corner 5.1. Let's see the first question. At a given place, the angle of dip is 30 degree. Angle of dip is 30 degree. If the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field, BH, is 0.2 Gauss, find the vertical component. Simple, this one. Tan of angle of dip is what? Vertical component by horizontal component. So delta is given 30 degree. Tan 30 is how much? Sin 30 is half, cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So this is 1 by root 3. So tan 30 is 1 by root 3. Vertical component we have to find. Horizontal component is 0.2. So if you cross multiply, vertical component will be 0.2 by root 3 Gauss. Do we need to calculate? No. Option B is the answer. Question number 2 you see. A ship is traveling due east. Due east, matlab towards east, according to the compass, according to the mariner's compass. If the declination at the place is 20 degree east, declination is 20 degree east. The actual direction of the motion is where? Actually where it is moving. According to compass, it is saying east. But in that place, the declination is 20 degree east. So what does it mean? Declination theta is 20 degree east means what? Look here. Let's say this is your geographic north, geographic south, east, west. Geographic east, geographic west. Now, your declination is 20 degree east means this is 20 degree east. Okay, is this side, not this side, this side. So your magnetic north will be here. So this is your magnetic north. I hope you remember declination means angle between geographic meridian and magnetic meridian. Yes or no? So this angle is 20 degree east. That means if the compass is showing me north, if the compass is showing me north, I'm actually, see, the compass is showing me north. I'm thinking it is north, but actually I'm going this way. So I'm going 20 degree this side. So similarly, if your motion, if the compass is saying you are moving towards east, you are actually going this way. So this much declination you have to add to the reading this way, clockwise. So if it is 20 degree east means it's clockwise, no, clockwise. So that much you have to put here also. Understood or not? So the compass is showing you are going east, but actually you are going this way, which is how I should write this one, 20 degree south of east. South of east. Matlab 20 degrees south of east. Understood or not? So which should be the right answer? 20 degrees south of east. Option A. 20 degrees south of east. Okay, students, so be careful about that. Suppose they tell declination is 20 degree west. That means magnetic north is here. So if I'm going this way, if the compass is saying I'm going north, I'm actually going, because compass is pointing towards magnetic north always. So if compass is saying I'm going north, I'm actually going this way. So if compass is saying I'm going west, you have to put like this, 20 degree south of west. And if the compass is saying I'm going east that time, then it will be, if my magnetic meridian, sorry, if my declination is 20 degree west, let me do it properly. I don't want you guys to be confused. So if declination in a given place is 20 degree west, let's say west, then what it means is, if this is your geographic north, south, east, west, then your magnetic north is 20 degree here, 20 degree anti-clockwise. So whatever readings they will show, it will be shown by the compass, you have to add 20 degree anti-clockwise. So if the compass is saying you are going east, then you have to add to this 20 degree, this way, 20 degree. So your actual motion will be here. So if this is shown, your actual motion will be here. So it will be how much? 20 degree north of east. This will be how you will write in exam, 20 degree north of east. This is 20 degree south of east. Okay, students, so hope you understood how to solve this kind of problems. So if you go for tracking and all this, I think yesterday only I told you about this method, right? How to use compass while going for tracking, and if you get lost and if your GPS signal is very weak, then this method will help you. But you need to again know the declination at that place. That's why you need to have a map. Okay, question number 3, you see the magnetic susceptibility of a magnetic material is 3 into 10 to the power minus 4. Magnetic susceptibility, if you remember, has no unit. Magnetic susceptibility has no unit. So in question number 4 or 3 is it? Question number 3. Magnetic susceptibility is given 3 into 10 power minus 4. They are asking what will be the relative permeability. One derivation I had done in the class, I think day before yesterday, right? Mu r equals to 1 plus chi m. So 1 plus magnetic susceptibility. So 1 plus this number I can write 0.0003 because 10 to the power minus 4, no? So 1.0003, which is the right answer, option D. Okay, let us now see question number 4, students. Figure shows a small magnetized needle P placed at point O. Magnetized needle, once they say, consider it as a magnet. So at point O, which they have marked like this, P is the name given to this magnetized needle, magnet. The arrow shows the direction of its magnetic moment. So this arrow shows the direction of its magnetic moment. So basically south pole is here, north pole is here. Right? Magnetic moment is from south to north. Now the other arrow shows different positions and orientations of magnetic moment of another identical magnetized needle Q. So there is another identical needle, magnetized needle, which they have shown in many positions. Okay, so let me draw the diagram first. So there is a circle around this, and there are only two magnet, students. One is P, other one is Q. But that other magnet they have kept in different position. So the first one is kept here. First position is this. And this arrow shows the direction of magnetic moment of the other magnet they are saying. Then they are keeping it here. Then they are keeping it here. Then they are keeping it here once. Then they are keeping it here. And then they are keeping it here. So again, don't think there are many needles or many magnets, two only. One is P, other one is Q, but these are different positions of Q. Question they are asking is, in which configuration the system is in stable equilibrium? Stable equilibrium. So let us go back and remember. If you have a magnet whose magnetic moment is here and your magnetic field applied is also in the same direction, then if you remember, we call the magnet is in stable equilibrium. Remember or not? If you forgot, think in terms of electric dipole in electric field. So when the electric dipole moment is parallel to electric field external, then we say it is in stable equilibrium. So this is your external. External means another source should produce this magnetic field, not this itself. Okay, external. So this is the configuration. Now, so you can treat one magnet as this and other magnet as the source of this magnetic field. Now we need to remember that if you have a magnet like this, south here, north here, and magnetic moment is from north to south, right? Then we know at axial point, magnetic field produced by this magnet is in the same direction as magnetic moment. Again, you have to remember electric dipole, axial point and equatorial point. So magnetic field here will be this way. This is magnetic field produced by this magnet. Okay. Similarly, here it is this way. At equatorial point, matlab perpendicular to the length of the magnet, it was opposite to the magnetic moment. So if magnetic moment is this way, the magnetic field produced by this magnet is opposite to this magnetic moment. So these things you please try to remember. So at axial point, magnetic field is in the same direction as the magnetic moment of whose magnet? Source magnet. Let us call this as source magnet. Why? Because this magnetic field is produced by this magnet. So let us call this source magnet. And the other magnet we will call it as test magnet. Because that one is feeling the magnetic field. Okay. So remember this. Now let us check one by one. So first configuration, P is here, Q2 is here. Understood? So let us consider P as the source for the whole problem. You can try the other way also. I will consider P as the source magnet, Q2 as the magnet which is experiencing the magnetic field. Now, magnetic moment of this is wherever the arrow is pointed, they told in the question. So magnetic moment of this is in the direction of this arrow, whichever it is pointed. Now, this magnet is in which line for this magnet? This magnet is kept where? Equatorial line. So at equatorial point, anywhere you choose for this magnet, magnetic field is in where? Opposite direction of its magnetic moment. So this has magnetic moment this way. So magnetic field produced on the axial line, equatorial line will be opposite. So you can see the magnetic moment and magnetic field are not in the same direction. It is perpendicular. So this is not stable equilibrium. They are only asking those configuration where the dipole is in stable equilibrium. Stable equilibrium means the magnetic moment should be parallel to the external magnetic field. Understood or not? So this B is produced by this, not this magnet. This B is produced by this magnet. So first I should find the direction of magnetic field produced by this magnet, which will be external magnetic field for this magnet. Then I have to check the direction. If it is same direction, then it is stable equilibrium. Understood, right? Okay. So first one is not. P and Q2 is not. Oh, I started with P and Q2. Huh? I should have done P and Q1. So P and Q2 not stable equilibrium. P and Q1. This is P. Q1 is here. Right? I am considering P as the source. So magnetic moment of this is wherever the arrow is shown. Again, this is equatorial. In equatorial, where I told magnetic field will be opposite to the magnetic moment of the source magnet. Source magnet has magnetic moment this way. So magnetic field will be this way. Again, it is not stable equilibrium, right? Okay. Now let us check P and Q3. You also try yourself. Pause the video and try P and Q3. Okay, students. So for Q3, magnetic moment is wherever the arrow is shown. Now, where is Q3? If you look carefully, it is in the equatorial line of this magnet. Equatorial line, right? Perpendicular to its length. So, since this is equatorial line, magnetic field will be opposite to magnetic moment of the source magnet. So, this is the source magnet. Magnetic moment is shown by the arrow in the question they told. So, magnetic field will be opposite to this. Matlab this way. Aha. What do you see? These two are in same direction. So P and Q3 are in stable configuration, that we have understood. Let us now check P and Q4. You please try yourself. Okay, pause the video and try. P is here, Q4 is here. Now Q4 has magnetic moment wherever the arrow is showing. Now for this dipole, for this magnet, this is lying on which line? Axial line. See, axial line. So since this magnet is on the axial line of this magnet, the magnetic field produced by this will be in the same direction as its magnetic moment, matlab this side. So you can see they are in opposite direction. M and B external produced by this are in opposite direction. So again, it cannot be stable equilibrium. In fact, it is unstable equilibrium. This one. Let us now see P and Q5. P is here. Q5 is here. Right? So magnetic moment of Q5 is wherever the arrow is shown, no problem. Where is the external magnetic field felt by Q5? So that depends on where is Q5 kept. Q5 is kept on the equatorial line, you can see. In equatorial line, magnetic field is opposite to the magnetic moment of the source magnet. So magnetic moment is this side. So magnetic field will be opposite. Oh, this is also not stable equilibrium because it is opposite. Then, excuse me, final one is P and Q6. Where is Q6? Q6 is here. Visible or not visible? Visible. So for this magnet, magnetic moment is wherever the arrow is shown. Now, the external magnetic field for this magnet is produced by this magnet. Where it will be? Where is this magnet? On which line? Axial line. Axial line. No, see for this. So this magnet is on the axial line of this magnet. Therefore, magnetic field produced here by this magnet will be in the same direction as its magnetic moment. So it will be this way. You can see these two are in what direction? Same direction. So P and Q6 are also in stable equilibrium. So which is the right option? P and Q3, P and Q6, option C. Beautiful question, students. I hope all of you enjoyed solving this or listening to the solution. Okay. Let us see the next question now. Question number how much? 5. A circular current loop of magnetic moment M is in a arbitrary orientation in a external magnetic field. So there is a current loop which behaves like a magnetic dipole, I told. So the current loop whose magnetic moment is M is in some arbitrary orientation. Matlab, it is anywhere right now with respect to some external magnetic field, capital B. The work done to rotate the loop by 30 degree about an axis perpendicular to its plane. The work done to rotate the loop by 30 degree about an axis perpendicular to its plane. This is very interesting. So imagine this is the loop. You are rotating. Imagine magnetic field is anywhere you want. Let us say, okay, let me not draw magnetic field right now. Let me first ask how it is rotated. it is rotated about an axis perpendicular to its plane, matlab this axis. So this arrow, this cross mark represents this axis. So if you rotate this way, then if current is flowing this way, magnetic moment will be here, right? And if you rotate the coil this way, will the magnetic moment change? Suppose right now this radius is here, this line, let me say. Once you rotate by 30 degree, this line will be here. So 30-degree rotation, 30-degree rotation this way. Will magnetic moment change? Right now it is here, let me rotate. Current will still flow this way. So magnetic moment is not changing its direction. So since magnetic moment did not change its direction, since magnetic moment did not change its direction, if let us say magnetic field is here, magnetic moment is here, magnetic field is here, let's say this angle is theta, then that angle theta will remain same. If that angle theta remains the same, work done will be 0. Why? What was the formula for work done to rotate the dipole from theta 1 to theta 2? Please revise the notes. You will find the formula as mb cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2. Same formula we have done in electric dipole also. Understood or not? So here in this problem, theta 1 is same as theta 2. Don't be confused with that 30 degree because they are rotating the coil this way only. About which axis they told? This axis. So if this is the axis, if you rotate about this axis, the magnetic moment will stay in the same direction. Magnetic field is uniform, they told. So magnetic moment stays in the same direction. Magnetic field is uniform, so the angle between them will be same. So if theta 1 and theta 2 are same, work done will be 0. Very good question. Many students will start putting some values and all. 30 degree they have given, no. So they will put some numbers here and try to calculate. That is stupid because in this problem, again I am saying the coil is rotated about this axis. If they rotate this way, about this axis, then right now magnetic moment is here. Once the coil rotates and becomes like this, magnetic moment will be here. Then the magnetic moment has changed its direction. Then this angle will change. Then we can calculate the work done. But not in this problem, because in this problem magnetic moment direction did not change. So work done is 0, option D. In a permanent magnet at room temperature, magnetic moment of each molecule is 0. No. The individual molecules have non-zero magnetic moment which are all perfectly aligned. All will not be perfectly aligned. We know that some magnetization, I remember, right? In a magnetized material, some amount of magnetization is left, but that is not same as saturation. It will be less than saturation. So there will be some atoms, because of room temperature, some of them will move against the alignment. So some of them will still have the random motion. So do not think all of them will be aligned in the same direction. Domains are partially aligned, domains are perfectly aligned. Domains are perfectly aligned. So in ferromagnetic materials from which we make magnets, the domains which we have, so in those domains the alignment will be perfect. But between one domain and another domain, that alignment may not be perfect. So please keep that in mind. Option D. Seventh question, you see, very good question again. It is based on Curie's law. Nitishwar luckily reminded me to solve or discuss Curie's law yesterday. Otherwise also I would have done it today, right? No problem. So question number 7, you see. A paramagnetic sample has a net magnetization of 8 ampere per meter. So magnetization is 8 ampere per meter. Paramagnetic substance they told. When placed in a external magnetic field B naught we used to write 0.6 Tesla. Okay. At temperature right now is 4 Kelvin. When the same sample is placed in another magnetic field, external, so this is change, V naught dash is 0.2 Tesla. At temperature T dash, let me write 16 Kelvin. What will be the magnetization? So here we will use Curie's law. So if you look at the Curie's law, if you remember, I told you magnetization is proportional to the external magnetic field and inversely proportional to temperature. In terms of susceptibility also you can write, but this one was the one I started with. Yesterday only I have done. Please check that. So M by M dash will be, ratio will be B naught by B naught dash into, this is inversely proportional to temperature, inversely, so it should be T dash by T. Correct? No? Okay. M is given 8, M dash we have to find. Magnetic field initial was 0.6, final is 0.2, temperature final is 16, initial was 4. This is 4 4s are 16, point you can remove, 2 3s are, so cross multiply M dash will be 12 will come down, so 8 by 12, 4 2s are 4 3s are, so 2 by 3 ampere per meter, right? What is the answer? Option B, 2 by 3 ampere per meter. Question number 8. The primary origin of magnetism. What is the source of magnetism? Obviously current. First option A, atomic currents. Yes, that is possible. Pauli's exclusion principle. No. Polar nature of molecules. No, that is for capacitance we used to study. Intrinsic spin of electrons. So it could be either the spin of the electrons or the orbital motion of the electrons. So option A and option D, both you have to tick. Question number 9. A long solenoid carries a current. It has a soft iron core. The core is heated beyond Curie's temperature. So if you heat it above Curie's temperature, I hope you remember, ferromagnetic will become paramagnetic. Then option A, the H field matlab magnetizing field or magnetic intensity. The H field in the solenoid is nearly constant, but the magnetic field decreases drastically. Yes, that is correct. H field, if you remember, H field has nothing to do with the material. It depends only on the external factors. So what happens to the material, H field has nothing to do. So let me remind you, this is 9, question number 9. So H field remains same, right? But B field decreases drastically. Why, sir, B field decreases drastically? Because B field depends on medium, mu Ni. H is only Ni. Yes or no? So if your ferromagnetic becomes paramagnetic, which happens above Curie's temperature, this mu will decrease a lot, because if you remember, mu of ferromagnetic is much larger than mu of paramagnetic. So if you go from ferromagnetic to paramagnetic, permeability will decrease, therefore magnetic field in the material, B field, will decrease drastically. Okay students, so keep that in mind. Let's see question number 10 now. Magnetic shielding is possible because, now magnetic shielding means what? If you remember, electrostatic shielding means what? Electrostatic shielding means removing electric field lines from the material. Removing electric field lines from the material. And that we used to do with the help of conductors. So if you have a conductor and you make a hole, make a cavity, then inside the conductor electric field was 0. So if you keep any instrument, that instrument will be safe from any external electric field. That is called electrostatic shielding. Similar to that, we can have magnetic shielding also. For that, we have to remove magnetic field lines. Now if you remove, the moment I do like this, which kind of material removes magnetic field lines? Dia, para or ferro? Diamagnetic, right? So if you have perfect diamagnetic material, then it will completely, this is, let's say this is the magnetic field before. If you put perfect diamagnetic material, the lines will be completely repelled like this. So none of the lines will be able to penetrate. Okay, so this is called perfect diamagnetism, where you completely remove the magnetic field lines. So if you have a cavity inside, if you make a cavity, a hole, then you can put some few objects which will be safe from external magnetic field. Okay, students. In higher classes, you will learn that superconductors. Right now, it is not possible to understand this, but someday, if you continue to study physics, you will come to know that superconductors are examples of perfect diamagnetic materials, superconductors. And this phenomenon of removing the magnetic field lines is called Meissner effect. Meissner effect. Spelling I may not be writing perfectly, but Meissner effect. Okay. So let us see which option says like this. First option says lines of magnetic field end on conductors. No, no, they are closed loops. They don't end on something. Shells matlab sphere which has cavity inside. Shells of low permeability material. Low permeability. Low permeability means diamagnetic, right? Diamagnetic materials have very small permeability, relative permeability. So permeability also will be small. So shells of low permeability materials can be used to divert lines of magnetic field from the interior. So this is the one which is closest to the correct option, correct answer. Okay, so option B we have to tick. So diamagnetic materials, I hope you remember when I was giving you the differences. I have told you they have very small permeability, relative permeability, which means permeability also will be small because permeability is mu naught into mu r. Mu naught is already very small. So if this is much smaller than 1, if this is much smaller than 1, this will be also very much smaller than 1. Okay. So you can use shells of low permeability or you can say diamagnetic materials. Option D, all of the above. No, no. A and C are not possible. Or C is lines of magnetic field become zero inside conductors. This is to confuse the students. So some students will think, oh, electric field lines like that. That you should not think. Electric field lines are different. Magnetic field lines are different. Last question, question number 11. A bar magnet is cut into two equal pieces perpendicular to its length. Let T be the time period of oscillation of the magnet, original magnet, about an axis through its midpoint, perpendicular to length in a magnetic field. What would be the similar period for each piece? After cutting it, what will be the time period they are asking in the same magnetic field? They have not mentioned the magnetic field has changed. So see properly. So they have a bar magnet. Okay, right now. So original bar magnet is this, let us say. So this length is L. Okay, and its magnetic moment is M, let's say. Now when you apply magnetic field, okay, then if you leave the magnet, it will oscillate this way, right? This is south, this is north, let's say. So this will try to come in the direction of magnet. As it comes here, because of inertia, it will continue. Then it will try to come this way. Again, because of inertia, it will continue. Then it will try to come this way. So it always tries to come in stable equilibrium. When it will be in stable equilibrium? When the magnetic moment, which is from south to north, becomes aligned parallel to magnetic field. So it tries to come parallel to magnetic field, but since it has inertia, it continues to oscillate. So the time period of this original magnet will be what? We know the formula 2 pi root over I by m. Please again remember m is the magnetic moment. Now what is capital I? Don't think current. Capital I is moment of inertia. Now they are cutting the magnet this way, perpendicular to its length into two equal pieces. So one piece let me take here now. So this length will be clearly L by 2. So if length will change, magnetic moment will also become half, I told. Since the end remains the same, pole strength remains the same. I think the first question in one of the questions we have discussed already, magnetic moment of this will be half. So magnetic moment, this quantity will become half. So directly you may think you will solve because this becomes half. This is same. This is same. But please understand, moment of inertia also will change. They should have told you to consider this magnet as a thin rod. So we will consider the magnet as a thin rod. Now try to remember the formula for moment of inertia of a thin rod which oscillates about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its length. This way it is oscillating, no, this way. So it is oscillating about this axis. So when a thin rod oscillates this way, moment of inertia was ml square by 12. This m is mass. Do not confuse with magnetic moment or magnetization. That is the problem, students. Sometimes same symbols will be used to represent different quantities. This is mass. So now in this problem, if you cut like this, it is very clear that mass has become halved. Mass has become halved or not? Mass of this will be m by 2. Length also has become half. So what will be the new moment of inertia? I dash. This has become m by 2. This has changed, I know. What about this? This also will change. What will be the new moment of inertia? M has become m by 2. Length has become L by 2. So L square by 4 into divided by 12. Correct? No. M has become m by 2. Length has become L by 2. So square is there. So L by 2 square will be L by L square by 4. So it is very clear that this has become moment of inertia of the original magnet. This is your moment of inertia of the original magnet divided by 8. So we have understood what happened to this and what happened to this, right? So let us try to do it directly by using proportionality concept. Or maybe let me write this way. So T by T dash will be, this is same. So root of, this is proportional numerator. So I by I dash into root of, this is root, m is also inside the root, but it is inversely. So I should write m dash by m. So original time period was T. This is the time period of this one piece which we have to find. Original moment of inertia is I. Now the moment of inertia is I by 8. Original magnetic moment is m. Now the magnetic moment is m by 2. M by 2. Okay, students? Solve this now, easy. You could have used directly proportionality also. So I will cancel, this m will cancel. So it will be 8 will go up. So root 8 by root 2. Correct or not? 8 will go up. Root 8 by root 2 will be root of 8 by 2. So this is root 4, which is 2. So T dash will be T by 2. Okay, students. So in fact, I was thinking I will do questions from transient material also. But while doing questions from our EPL only, it took all the time. But believe me, all the questions we did today are very, very good questions. In fact, now doing transient material will be very, very simple because NCERT exemplar questions are quite good. So I hope everybody understood. I will see you in the next class. Thank you.